What if everything you've ever been taught about church, about prayer, about divine blessings, was incomplete? What if the reason your prayers seem unanswered, your breakthroughs delayed, your blessings stalled, wasn't because of lack of faith, but because one ancient spiritual key was kept hidden from you? Not by accident, but on purpose. Imagine for a moment, buried under centuries of doctrine, translation, and silence, there exists a single prayer, a forgotten formula whispered by prophets and concealed in scrolls that were never meant to reach the average believer. A prayer so powerful, it was said to open the heavens instantly, and yet it vanished, removed, hidden, locked away by the very institutions sworn to protect spiritual truth. But now, it's resurfaced. And tonight, you're not watching this by accident. This is not a coincidence. If you're here, it's because something inside you, something deeper than logic, brought you to this exact moment. The algorithm didn't do this. Divine timing did. Because what's about to be revealed could change the way you pray, the way you think, the way you live, forever. You've felt it, haven't you? That sense that there's more to Scripture than what's preached on Sundays. That gut feeling that the spiritual world is operating on laws, spiritual physics, divine algorithms, that most people don't even see, let alone understand. And while many are out here struggling, begging, pleading for a breakthrough, a handful of people seem to tap into abundance, peace, and favor like they've discovered some kind of hidden divine code. And maybe you've wondered, why not me? It's not your fault. This isn't about being good enough. This is about knowing the missing piece. Because long before prosperity preachers and mega-churches, before printed Bibles and translated doctrine, there was a frequency, a pattern, a spoken code so potent, so energetically aligned with heaven, that it produced immediate results in the lives of those who used it. It was never meant for the masses, only the initiated, only the chosen. But guess what? You're being chosen right now. If something inside you is burning, even if you can't explain it, pause for just 1 second. Hit that like button, not for the algorithm, for you, as a signal that you're ready. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because this channel doesn't do watered-down, surface-level content. This is spiritual revelation backed by ancient texts, neuroscience, quantum law, and truth they don't preach from the pulpit. And while you're here, write a comment right now, even if it's just, I'm ready to receive. Don't underestimate that. That small act may be your first step in activating something dormant inside of you, because what comes next will be unlike anything you've heard in church or anywhere else. You're about to discover the prayer that was hidden for 2,000 years. And once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. But be warned, this will challenge your beliefs. It will stretch your understanding. And if you're open, it might just change your life. Now, are you still with me? Good. Because what I'm about to share next is not a theory, a nice story, or some motivational fluff. It's real. And it starts with one man, in the hills of Galilee, who was never meant to be remembered, but who unlocked something the world tried to forget. Imagine this for a moment. 2,000 years ago, in the earliest communities of believers spread across Judea and Galilee, there was a prayer whispered only among a small circle of disciples. Not long, not poetic, not the kind of prayer you hear in modern churches. This was different, sharp, direct. A spiritual command more than a request. A few short lines said to unlock immediate favor. Provision when there was lack, direction when there was confusion, protection when danger was near. It wasn't the type of prayer designed to sound beautiful. It was designed to work. And yet, as the centuries passed, something happened. When Rome institutionalized faith, when councils debated doctrine, when sermons became formal and prayers became rituals, this ancient formula was pushed aside. Too mystical, too bold, too connected to what early believers called divine authority. And once the church began preaching endurance, long-suffering, and acceptance of hardship, anything that hinted at instant blessing was quietly buried. But lost doesn't mean gone. Because fragments of this prayer still appear in early manuscripts, hidden between lines in old Syriac texts, written in the margins of Aramaic scrolls found in desert monasteries, whispered in oral traditions that modern Christianity never absorbed. It isn't just history, it's a code, a piece of spiritual technology that survived in pieces, waiting for the right generation to rediscover it. And here's the part most people never hear. Those who practiced this prayer in ancient times described something unusual. Blessings came quickly. Needs were met faster than logic allowed. Families avoided tragedies. Crops flourished. Doors opened that shouldn't have opened. It was as if heaven responded not in days or weeks, but instantly. That's why elders called it the prayer of immediacy, the prayer that aligned a person's spirit, mind, and intention so precisely with God's will that the answer didn't need to travel. It arrived. Now imagine the weight of that. Imagine holding something in your hands that generations before you were never allowed to access. Imagine discovering a prayer that bypasses fear, doubt, and spiritual noise. A prayer designed to activate divine favor in the moment you speak it. What would that mean for your life, for your home, for the prayers you've been praying for years, maybe decades, without breakthrough? And here's what most people don't realize. When something is hidden for this long, it's usually because it holds power, real power, not emotional comfort, not religious tradition, but a direct line, a spiritual frequency that connects you to the source of blessing in a way that churches stopped teaching centuries ago. So ask yourself honestly, if this prayer truly exists, if this ancient formula has been waiting in the dark for someone awakened enough to use it, what would you do with it? Would you ignore it? Or would you lean in, listen deeper, and let it change everything? Hold that thought, because the deeper we go, the more the pieces begin to connect. And the story behind how this prayer resurfaced is even more shocking. But this isn't just history or ancient whispers. This isn't a concept meant to stay locked in dusty scrolls or stored in libraries no one visits. What you're about to hear are real testimonies from everyday people, ordinary Americans who encountered this hidden prayer and experienced results that no sermon, no theology class, no pastor could have prepared them for. Let me introduce you to Mark. He's not a preacher. He's not some monk in the mountains. He's a father of two, lives in a small town in Indiana, and works construction. Last year, life hit him hard. Hours were cut, bills piled up, and a medical emergency with his youngest daughter drained what little savings they had. He was at rock bottom, not just financially, but spiritually. He told us he was this close to giving up. Then one night, scrolling aimlessly online, he found something strange. An old blog post referencing a forbidden prayer hidden in ancient texts, now partially translated and reprinted. At first he laughed. It sounded too mystical, too much like fiction, but something stirred in him, a strange peace. He printed it out, folded it, and kept it in his wallet. That night, for the first time in years, Mark didn't beg God. He aligned with him. He read the words slowly, intentionally, not trying to force an outcome, just surrendering. The next morning, and this is documented, he received an unexpected call from a commercial construction firm he had applied to months ago with no reply. They offered him a 6-month contract at nearly 3 times his previous pay. Within a week, his debt was gone. Within a month, he was ahead. Then there's Lisa, single mom, 3 kids, recently laid off, food running out, prayers unanswered for months. She stumbled across the same prayer through a friend who had watched a video just like this one. She told us something changed in her when she read it. Not just her mindset, but her atmosphere. That morning it was pouring rain and she had no money left, but she whispered the prayer out loud. Through tears, she felt foolish, but she did it anyway. 42 hours later, she received a letter in the mail from a family member she hadn't heard from in over a decade. Inside was a check, more than enough to pay off every overdue bill. Coincidence? Or divine timing triggered by an ancient alignment? These aren't isolated stories. More and more people are coming forward. Nurses, veterans, teachers, retirees, people of faith, and people who had lost faith, all discovering the same pattern. This prayer doesn't ask for miracles. It activates them. What's happening here is not hype. It's not a prosperity gospel. It's not about greed. It's about unlocking divine flow, spiritual alignment that causes what's meant for you to find you, fast. Every word of this prayer carries vibrational weight. The ancients knew it. Somehow we forgot. But now it's resurfacing. And those who speak it with intention, with clarity, with surrender, they're not begging heaven. They're joining it. And in the next few minutes, you'll hear how this very prayer, buried, banned, and buried again, made its way back to the light. Shall we go deeper? But as more and more testimonies began to surface, something strange started to happen. Not just in homes and churches, but in labs, in research facilities, in data centers run by people who didn't believe in miracles, scientists, neurospecialists, people trained to trust only what they can measure. They started looking into what happens when a person speaks this ancient prayer out loud, not just once, but intentionally, consistently, with expectation. And what they discovered blurred the line between faith and science in a way that shook them. At first, the studies were focused on general prayer and meditation. Brain scans showed common results: calmness, relaxation, slower heart rate. Nothing new. But then, researchers at a private university in Colorado began experimenting with specific sacred texts, Hebrew phrases, psalmic chants, fragments of ancient Aramaic blessings, believed to be part of lost liturgies. And buried among those was a version of the same hidden prayer we've been talking about. Participants who read that prayer daily for just 7 days began to report shifts not only emotionally, but physically. Chronic pain diminished. Sleep deepened. But what truly stunned the research team was this. The participants' brainwave activity shifted into a highly focused theta state, the same frequency associated with memory consolidation, healing, and what scientists call whole brain synchronization. The prayer wasn't just calming them, it was aligning them, unlocking something. And then came the real twist, the vocal frequency of the prayer itself. The actual sound vibration of the spoken words, was shown to resonate at 528 Hz, a frequency long rumored to be linked to DNA repair, transformation, and even manifestation. A vibrational signature hidden in ancient text, and yet no one talks about it. It's as if this prayer was designed not just for spiritual comfort, but for quantum activation, like a password whispered into the fabric of reality. A phrase that doesn't just carry hope, but a frequency of divine alignment. Not superstition, not hype, just resonance, precision, faith meeting frequency. And if that's true, if even a portion of this is accurate, then what we've stumbled upon is far more than spiritual encouragement. It's a blueprint, a spiritual technology, a bridge between the spoken word and the quantum structure of your life. Because here's the question no one asks. What if miracles aren't magic, but mechanisms? What if breakthrough, healing, restoration, and wealth are all outcomes of alignment, and prayer, real prayer, ancient prayer, is the tool? The Bible says the Word of God is living and active. What if that wasn't poetic? What if that's literal? Because the people who have accessed this prayer and stayed with it don't just feel better, they see results. Their environment shifts. Their relationships heal. Finances start flowing. Things move, not in a month, not in a year, sometimes in hours. And the best part? You don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to access the frequency. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how to do that, and how this once-lost spiritual code could become the most powerful breakthrough you've ever experienced. Are you ready? You've stayed this long, and that already tells me something about you. Most people would have clicked away by now, dismissed this as another spiritual theory, or passed it off as religious hype. But not you. You're still here, and that means one thing. Your spirit recognizes something. Deep down, something inside you is awakening. Something that knows this moment isn't just a coincidence. It's a calling. And now, the prayer you were never supposed to hear about is standing right in front of you like an open door. Let me say this plainly. This is no longer about curiosity. This is about decision. You've seen the stories. You've heard the science. You've felt the pull. And now, the forgotten prayer, the one buried by centuries of doctrine, hidden by religious fear and guarded by generations of silence, is being placed back into the hands of those who are ready, those who are willing, those who are hungry for more. You see, alignment with divine frequency isn't passive. It's not about waiting for something to happen. It's about saying yes. It's about coming into agreement with the design that was already written over your life. The question isn't whether or not the prayer works. It's whether or not you'll step into it. Imagine this for a second. What if the very thing you've been praying for, peace, clarity, healing, provision, breakthrough, has been waiting on you to activate it, not by striving, not by earning, but by stepping into agreement with the vibration of heaven? Because that's what this prayer is. It's not a formula. It's not a ritual. It's a doorway. And the only key it needs is your yes. Now, maybe your heart's beating faster. Maybe your eyes are welling up and you don't even know why. That's not emotion. That's frequency. That's the sound of your soul responding to a truth it forgot it knew. This isn't manipulation. It's memory. You were made for this, to walk in alignment, to live in spiritual authority, to be a carrier of divine blessing, not just a witness to other people's miracles. There is a reason why this video reached you. There is a reason why you didn't scroll away. There is a reason why your heart feels like it's standing on the edge of something huge right now. And that reason is simple, because you're ready. Even if you don't feel ready, even if you're scared, even if you've been through hell and nothing makes sense anymore, that still small voice inside you knows this is your moment. And now you have a choice. You can ignore it. Keep scrolling. Go back to life as usual. Pretend this never stirred anything inside of you. Or you can take one step, just one. You can speak the words. You can access the frequency. You can say the prayer with the kind of faith that turns invisible things into physical reality. Because this prayer, this ancient, forbidden, heaven-backed code, is real, and it works. But only if you do one thing, choose to engage. So here's what I want you to do right now, and do it with intention. Scroll down to the comments, take a breath, and type the following words. I choose to receive instant blessings. Say it out loud if you need to. Whisper it if you have to. But write it, because writing it makes it real. It marks the moment. It's a trigger in the spiritual realm. It says, I'm no longer just watching, I'm participating. If you feel led, you can also comment, I align with divine frequency, or I receive the lost prayer. These aren't just sentences, they're declarations, and declarations shift reality. Now get ready, because what comes next will reveal the most overlooked verse in the entire Bible, a verse that holds the final key to unlocking spiritual wealth that no one's teaching, but you're about to discover. Before you scroll away, take one step that could ripple across eternity. Share this video right now with 3 people you care about, friends, family, or even someone you barely talk to, because this prayer might be their divine moment. You could be the answer to someone else's silent cry for help. Then hit the subscribe button. Don't just watch, be part of something. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement, a community uncovering lost truths, walking in divine abundance, and learning what was hidden in plain sight for centuries. Here, faith meets frequency, spirit meets science, and what you just watched is only the beginning. Your next step is already waiting. Click on the next video. 7 signs. God is trying to speak to you, but you are ignoring. If you walk away now, you might miss the message you were born to hear. But if you choose to move forward, even for one more minute, something begins to shift. Because for those who knock, the door opens. Click now. The next revelation is already waiting. Let's go deeper, together.